and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of Global Book Network, where we connect with authors who are doing fantastic things. My name is Flobo Boyce, and my guest is a special one here today. So please welcome the author of God Has Already Chosen You, Elma Hampton. How's it going?
It's going good. It's going good. Thank you.
Let's talk about the title, Choose. I love the fact that that is like the first word. It is definitely a bit of the structure of the book. Talk to me about the idea of structuring over choices in our lives.
Right. Choose. So choose is just uh giving people a chance and helping them to understand they need to not need they can choose God, because God has already chosen you. So it's giving people a choice. A lot of time people go through things and they don't realize that they have a choice. They can make a choice, even if you're making mistakes. That was one of my problems. That's why I wrote the book, because I had sinned, you know, got in trouble, and I feel like I didn't have no other choices left, because the way I was raised up, the way, the ministry I was under. So I felt like I didn't have a choice. So I started reading the Bible and realizing that I do have a choice because God had already chosen me. And all I had to do is choose him. And he's like all powerful, all knowing, all seeing. So, it ain't nothing that he can't do. And my little faults, he already know about it because he already has predestined, you know, my destiny. So he already know what's gonna happen. Yeah.
So talk to me about that. Was there a particular moment when you realized that you have to change your path, or was it a gradual relationship, deepening relationship with God?
It's a deeper relationship with God. It's gradual and a deeper relationship with God. It's like, you know, um, I started off reading, and you know how the spirit just speaks to you. The Bible just kind of jumps out at you,
Mhm.
and like it just says you need to do this. Let me give you a better scripture. Something like the seed you plant is going to come back. Okay,
Mhm.
and so I didn't like the seed I had planted, and it wasn't nothing I could do about it. Okay, because it was the done deal. You know, so I realized that I was going to have to go through something because I had did some wrong. So you see,
Mhm.
so but then there was the other side that was in the Bible. As I read and built my relationship through prayer and fasting and stuff, I realized that I can go to God with this. Because He already has me. He already has me. He already know me. He already knew that I was going to fall in this kind of um, rut or to them. So as I read, I realized, oh, wow, God help me. It really brought tears to my eyes. It was like, God help me, because I thought I was in a bad place, you know.
Yeah.
So as I read and I wrote, and I wrote down what the Spirit was saying to me, and he just led me. He just led me to choose Him, and I've been choosing Him like every morning I wake up. I say, God, I choose You because without You, I can't do anything. You know, so I realize I need to choose God every day. Every morning we wake up, we have a choice before us. We can choose to walk in the Holy Spirit, be led by the Holy Spirit, or we can choose to make our own decision and go on about our business. But God said, He says it like this. He said, in all things acknowledge Him, in all our ways acknowledge him. So it's not that he's trying to get us to not do some of the things we want to do, but what he wants us to do is recognize him as our creator,
Mhm.
and just have a relationship with him. So as I built my relationship with God, I realized that things are good. Things are good. Yeah.
If you don't mind me asking, when you said you were in a bad place, we're talking about your job, life, just the way you saw the world. What exactly did that mean?
Yeah, when I say I was in a bad place, it was like I wanted to divorced my husband. I wanted to leave the city because, and I hate to say this, but because somebody had in the church had really hurt me. And I was like, hey, this ain't what it's supposed to be, and you got so much going on now with churches. It's a shame, but I got hurt in the church, really bad. It was something that somebody said to me. uh it was confusing, it was hurtful, you know and I just was in a bad, it put me in a bad place because I really look up to leadership, you know.
Sure. I understand. And
Mhm.
thank you for sharing that because I know everyone's world and life is different. And so this is some
Mhm.
context with there. So let's talk about the actual writing process of the book. Did you write when inspiration struck when you first woke up in the morning, or did you set aside time during the day to make it happen? How did it come together?
I said to I woke up in the morning, and then I set aside time to write it. And a lot of times I keep a tablet beside my bed. So whenever the spirit says something to me, I write it, jot it down. And I just kind of go with the flow, go with the flow, whatever he's saying. Like, every day, every day we have a choice before us, but we can have hard choices, simple choices, whatever. But every day, every morning we have a choice before us. And even the spirit asked me, he's like, who you gonna choose? What are you gonna do tomorrow, this morning? And a lot of people don't realize that the spirit of God is alive. It's alive and it's moving. You know, and when we start connecting with God, He said, "I make one. If you make one step, I'll make two steps." So when we start connecting with God, the Spirit is like, "Hey, yay, let's get rolling today." So it's like it's a journey that that everybody should experience, and that's a lot about my book.
Hmm.
People need to realize that you don't have to stay in the shape you in. You don't have to keep doing the same thing. I'm talking about any walks of life. I'm one of them people that I don't mind talking to anybody. If you say, hey, I'm gonna look around and I'm gonna be like, what's up? You know,
Yeah. Uh,
So go ahead. Mhm.
over how long did you compile the chapters to make this book happen? Weeks, months, years? Was it a long-term process?
Well, the first go round it was wrong. So this is the second edition. So it wasn't hard. I'd probably give myself 3 months. I probably because it wasn't hard because all of it is
Mhm.
based off of what I already wrote. God just helped me to rearrange it in a way that people could grasp it more. Because I people don't like to read a lot.
That's
It's
ironic to
a
say this on a book review show, but yes, you're
Yeah,
absolutely right.
yeah, it's a lot. People, it's you got computers, they don't want to pick up a book, so you have to be careful doing a book. So and that's why mine's, it's really thin, because I only did like 8 chapters, and all you got to do is just get up and read a chapter a day. You be done in about 5 minutes, and look, and you be refreshed. Because that's what it did for me. When I read a chapter, when I started writing, it was like my spirit was like all over the place. I was like, I was like, when I wrote down and now I put God is my co-pilot. When the Spirit was talking to me, God is my co-pilot. I shouldn't be dependent on nobody. I shouldn't be worried about flying in the air or nothing because God should be my co-pilot. So when the Spirit started dealing with me that, I was like, I jumped up out the seat to start walking back and forth because, it was just all over me because it's good to know that the Spirit of God is with you. And it's
Yeah,
good to know that you can actually hear him. Yeah,
yeah,
you can actually hear him, from the heart. He's not gonna be like, hey, what you doing? But you can actually hear him from the heart. You know.
yeah. We're talking about choose. God has already chosen you, which is the second edition. And the reason for going back and doing a second edition, was that a personal reason? Was that kind of a format thing? Do you want to add on things? What had changed between the original version and this one here today?
Because I didn't like the first version because I had help and I had the editors and stuff. They wasn't I hate to say this, but I'm gonna say it. They wasn't uh, up to date with English,
Hmm.
so I was having a problem with communicating with them, and they was having a problem communicating with me. Because as you can see, I'm very country, Southern, So I put down stuff that I didn't want to put down because they kept, I was running into the problem, but I had to cite everything, and I was under the pressure. You don't have to cite everything with the Bible, but it was just a lot of confusion. And then I had to take out and put in, and when I started reading, it really wasn't what I wanted to put in, you
Hmm.
know, and
No,
it
I'm
go
glad you shared that. There's so many times when we think about an author, we think of it as a solitary experience, like just in a dark room, we're making the book and that's it. But it can be really up to your team, collaborators, the editors, your publishers to make sure that an idea gets the way that you want it. And sometimes that does break down. So that's totally fine. And thank you for being candid because it happens to a lot of us out there, you know.
hmm hmm
But this edition
Yeah,
now is what you like. It's something more in line with what you're looking for.
it is. Okay, great, great, great.
Yeah, yes.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
I tell you, whoever gets it, buys it, they're gonna really be blessed. Because I can say this much. If you really, really want God in your life, and listen, let me tell you something. This world is moving fast.
Hmm.
And you can only recognize it if you got some kind of spiritual insight. Time has speeded up. It's really have. It was January yesterday. It's October now.
Hmm.
You lay down and it's like, where did time go? You wake up. Time has really speeded up. You people are parents and daughters and son and father, they are against each other. That's in the church. In the church, it has fallen away. You can go to here in Arkansas, you can go to any church. You may see 15 people. I'm just saying, it's the people has fallen away. Some people say it's a shift. Yes, it's a shift, but it's a shift to filter people that from I believe it's a shift to filter people as far as people who really want God, who really wants to know their creator.
Hmm.
That's the kind of shift. I mean, it's a shift as far as God is filtering out the people that's really serious and versus the people that's going to church saying, hey, um, you know, I'm a bishop so and so, or I'm apostle so and so, and giving people a little line, and you know, God is filtering them out.
Yeah.
Hey, we got a line here. Everybody that got $100, I want them in this line. Everybody got $10. God is filtering it out because nobody should have to pay for His blessing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
No,
Yeah,
no, I think you hit on something that's very genuine, especially when we look at religion nowadays, where it's for a lot of the younger generation, there are almost two camps. Those who are devout and they find a way to oversight, and other people who say, hey, maybe this version of God that I grew up with doesn't really speak to me. But I think what's cool about your book is that you say, hey, look, you may come from different lives, different walks of life, but there's still a path that you can have relationship with God because God chose you first, which I think is pretty cool.
that's it.
Yeah.
He chose us first. We was handpicked. It was handpicked. In Jeremiah it says, um, before you was even born, conceived in your mother womb, he said, I knew you. Shadalobosana. He said, I knew you.
Yeah.
And that is awesome. For him to say that to Jeremiah, hey, I knew you before you was even thought about, but I
Hmm.
handpicked you and mold you and shaped you into it while you was inside of your mother womb. You know, he's an awesome God, you know. So uh that's it. I have to be careful because I preach to you.
No, it's totally fine. I mean, please preach to me because understanding, the author is kind of what makes this fun, to
Yeah,
understand really what
yeah,
makes
it
this.
is. Yeah.
One of the chapters in the book is actually the final chapter, chapter 8. It says, chosen to live victoriously. And I thought that was kind of a cool title there. But talk to me about what does that mean to live victoriously in this day and age?
To live victoriously is to just walk with God. That's all it is. To live victoriously is to wake up every morning, acknowledge God for who He is, and just walk with Him. Be obedient to His word, because that's the key of it. Be obedient to His word. Open that Bible up, you know, read it. Read you a chapter, a verse or two, anything that you can take. and roll over in your mind during the day, and that's meditate on during the day. He told Joshua, he said, this word of mine, this book of law, I want you to meditate on it day and night. Let it not part from your mouth. So God is a serious thing. It's a serious thing to walk in victory with God, to walk, you know, uh, just walking with God. And when I first started understanding that God was really with me, it was I was talking to God and I didn't even realize I was talking to him. I was singing to him and I didn't even realize I was singing to him. And when I got messed up, I realized it was an emptiness before me. It was an emptiness inside of me. And I tell you, there was a hard path to get back to because everything that we do has consequences, whether it's good or bad. And one of the things that people have to realize that when you if you want to be in victory, let me just go back to if you want to be victory, walk in victory, stay with God. Acknowledge him, be obedient to his word, trust his word. It's the only infallible word that we have.
Ms. Hampton, what happens when like we feel like things are straight? We learned a story about Enoch and Enoch understanding that his family was going awry, so he decided to walk with God. But 2025, there's computers and there's news and there's things going on that's assailing us. Like, what can we do to ensure ourselves to live victoriously? How can we ensure that we can walk with God?
Ah, those are things of the world and we have to push them away. Those are decisions that we have to make. You have to have time with God. How you going to walk with somebody if you don't know them? How you going to talk to somebody if you don't have a relationship? It's just like me and my husband. How can my husband, I know anything about my husband? How can I know, have a relationship with him if I don't talk with him? Same thing with God. How can it's a choice. Right back to the choice. It's a choice. You have to choose to like you have to choose not to want to look at TV all day. You have to choose not to want to walk with your phone all day. You people getting killed with they on their phone. They killing other people with their phone. You have to choose not to want to do those things and walk with God. I'm not saying don't have no fun. I'm not saying you can't go play basketball. I'm not saying you can't look at a movie. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that you have to make God first top priority in your life if you want to live, if you want to have God. Yes, Enoch walked with God and God took him away. You know, I want to be one of them. When I leave this world, I want God to just come and get me, or just lift me up out of this body of mine, So we have to choose. Those are things, it's just like I chose that I want to go to college. I chose, that I wanted to go back to school. Those are choices. Like I said, you got choices in your life. Choose this day. Joshua said like this here. Choose this day who
Yeah.
you gonna serve. And Joshua said, for me and my house, we're gonna serve the Lord.
Mm.
So it's a choice. We have to choose. If TV, everything. We got so much distraction in this world, but we have to be not conformed to this world. We can't be so attached to this world because it's gonna pass away. So we have to renew our mind with the word of God. And those are things we have to, choose. If you want, I tell people like this: if you want to go to heaven, if you believe in God and you want to go to heaven, don't let nobody tell you that it's no heaven, that it's no God. Don't let nobody tell you that it's not real, because God is real. Who else could have created me? Who
Mm.
else? Somebody, God is out there. He created us, And one day, I tell people like this: if you don't believe that you have a spirit or a soul, or your spirit gonna die with your body, you dream. When you dream, you moving, you walking, you talking in your dream, but you sleep.
Mhm. Mhm.
It's a dream, but you can see yourself moving and talking and dealing with other people. When you're sick, you can hear people talking and stuff. You're talking and doing stuff to you, but you can't open your eyes. You know, uh, I don't know how it's other
Yeah, that
it,
I'm sorry, I was enraptured with what you're saying because it's true. Like any relationship of merit, you choose, but it isn't a one-time choice. You elect to choose again and again and again, whether it is the
oh
person you
yes.
live with or whatever it is. So I was I was
Yes.
I was appreciating your perspective. It's like, oh yeah, that makes total makes sense.
Y- Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
we had to choose. It's all about choice. It's all about choice. Going, do you know that when you walk out that house, that you have a choice before you? When you walk out your house, no, let's do it like this. When you wake up in the morning, open your eye, you have a choice before you. I think I said this earlier. It's a choice. You're gonna do right or wrong. Some people are already involved in all kind of drug deals. You got cartels, you got people that's smothering stuff. You got people that's lying, backbiting, cheating on their wife, cheating on their husband, and that choice. Every day we have a new day of grace. So that
Mhm.
grace comes to us and say, what you're gonna do today is you're gonna walk right, live right, or you're gonna keep on living in fornication or adultery. Or
Mhm.
you're gonna keep on lying like you've been lying all this time. What you gonna do? I'm sorry. But it's just a choice. What is people gonna do? You get that choice right before you. You don't have to keep lying. You don't have to keep being in adultery. You don't have to keep, stealing. You don't have to. You have a choice before you.
Yeah.
Just like I had a choice. I chose to get on the bus. I'm sorry. I chose to get on the bus because I'm afraid of flying. But my mother and pastor told me about that. They were like, well, you got to trust God. Even you can lose your life in a bus, on a bus, and that's true. But I still wrote it in there. I still can say, if I'm on the passenger side, whether I'm driving, I can say, hey, stop. They're going to stop. In an airplane, I can't do nothing. They close that cockpit, they close that door. Look, ain't nobody getting in there. So you're going to have to sit back and trust God as your pilot.
Choose. God has already chosen you is available now. Ms. Hampton, thanks so much for hanging out with us and telling us more about your book. If someone were to purchase the book right now, what do you expect for them to get out of it?
I expect them to get out a changed life. I expect them to choose God and want to do better. Now, if it's not going to happen, well, it could. It could happen instantly, or it could happen overnight. It could happen at the end of the book, and it could never happen. It's all about what you choose to do. But it really will help you, and it'll get you where you're going. If you're trying to get from earth to glory, this book will help you. Because I want to get to heaven.
Well, thank you so much for your time. Appreciate it here. And this has been another edition of Global Book Network. Thank you.